қызметінің ақпараттық алаңына қош келдіңіздер. Бүгінгі баспасөз конференциямыз Азия даму банкінің Қазақстанмен 2017-2021 жылдарына әріптестіктің жаңа стратегиясына арналып отыр. Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Мы рады приветствовать вас на информационной площадке службы центральных коммуникаций. Совет директоров Азиатского банка развития одобрил новую стратегию партнерства с Казахстаном, в рамках которой планируется оказание содействия стране на сумму свыше $3 миллиардов США до 2021 года включительно. Стратегия направлена на поддержку мер по диверсификации экономики, достижению инклюзивного развития, а также устойчивого роста. Более подробно о новой стратегии между банком и Казахстаном расскажут наши сегодняшние гости. Разрешите представить. Директор представительства Азиатского банка развития в Казахстане мистер Джованни Капанелли, а также директор Департамента бюджетных инвестиций и развития государственного частного партнерства Министерства национальной экономики Республики Казахстан Нурым Аязбаев. Уважаемые спикеры, добро пожаловать. И первое слово предоставляется Нурым Аязбаевич, пожалуйста, вам.
Добрый день. Разрешите вкратце рассказать про Азиатский банк развития и сотрудничества Казахстана. В этом году уже исполняется 23 года с нашего сотрудничества, и за этот период Азиатский банк развития активно участвует в развитии инфраструктуры регионов Казахстана. За этот период времени он предоставил нам 28 правительственных займов на сумму около $4,6 миллиардов США, а также порядка $40 миллионов США безвозмездной технической помощи на институциональное развитие. В настоящее время с Азиатским банком развития у нас имеются совместные реализуемые проекты, их 5 проектов на общую сумму $1 миллиард США. Это автодорожные проекты, проекты в сфере поддержки малого и среднего бизнеса, и предоставление финансирования долгосрочного развития инфраструктуры. В целом, хотел бы сказать, что дополнительно также в настоящее время у нас имеется порядка 4 проектов на сумму $440 миллионов США, которые мы совместно осуществляем. Это в сфере здравоохранения и сельского хозяйства. Хотел бы сказать, что у нас сегодняшнее совещание у нас посвящено одобрению Советом директоров Азиатского банка реконструкции и развития новой стратегии партнерства с нашей республикой на 2017-2021 годы. Данный документ более года уже обсуждается совместно с нами, совместно обсужден со всеми заинтересованными государственными органами и организациями. Были представлены соответствующие предложения, которые были учтены в данной стратегии, и мы определили новую ветку сотрудничества по дальнейшему диверсификации экономики, инклюзивности и поддержке нашего устойчивого роста. Детально по самой стратегии расскажет глава представительства Азиатского банка в Казахстане более детально. В целом, да, как было уже отмечено, в данной программе предусматривается индикативная сумма финансирования, это порядка $3 миллиардов США, и основной пул, который акцент делается, это на привлечение финансирования в негосударственный сектор. То есть это новая ветка нашего диалога, когда мы уже совместно создали какую-то определенную инфраструктуру, устойчивую экономику, и Азиатский банк развития, Международный финансовый институт готовы уже сотрудничать с нашим частным сектором и предоставлять соответствующее финансирование под их корпоративные гранты или другие коммерческие обеспечения, соответствующие их политике. Хотел бы сказать, что также в этой стратегии непосредственно прописана возможность снижения валютных рисков по проекту, то есть возможность финансирования проектов в тенге путем соответствующего выхода на рынок наш фондовый и заимствования и предоставления тенгового финансирования. Данный инструмент будет очень привлекателен для нашего корпоративного сектора, потому что длинные тенговое финансирование совершенно никому не представляется. И в целом хотел бы в завершении своей речи и передачи слова хотел бы сказать, что мы очень рады, что мы наконец-то к сентябрю месяцу уже согласовали данную стратегию, данная стратегия вступила в силу и готовы работать в рамках данной стратегии. Спасибо.
Благодарим за выступление. И следующее слово хотелось бы предоставить директору представительства Азиатского банка развития в Казахстане, мистеру Джованни Капанелли. Mr. Cabanelli, the next speech is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you for your kind introduction, and thank you to my colleague Nurim for introducing Asian Development Bank to you and explaining the results of our intensive discussion with government. It's my great pleasure, in fact, to announce you that last week, on Tuesday, 12th of September, the board of the Asian Development Bank approved the new country partnership strategy that we laid down and discussed with the government of Kazakhstan up to the end of 2021. We do these country strategies every 5 years, and also taking from the figures that Nurim provided to you, I'm also happy to inform you that our engagement with Kazakhstan is intensifying as we move forward. For the next 5 years, we plan to invest more than $3 billion US dollars, which would be a substantial increase from the engagements that we had over the last 5 years. The previous country partnership strategy until last year, we invested a total of roughly 2.4 billion US dollars, of which 1 billion US dollars was used for counter-cyclical support to the government as it introduced Nurlijol policy in reaction to the external shocks that were received in 2014. So in addition to that, we provided 1.4 billion US dollars in terms of investments, more than $9 million in terms of technical assistance grants to promote, to introduce new technologies, international best practices, as well as to provide a lot of knowledge support to the country. Our past strategy was really focused in two main sectors. One, we provided financing support for private sector development through small and medium enterprises. We work with the Damu Fund of Kazakhstan, and since 2013, in fact, we invested some 700 million US dollars to promote development of small and medium enterprises. We had a strong bias in favor of women entrepreneurs. In fact, 1/3 of our financial support has been dedicated for new projects, new businesses opened by females, and also we targeted cities, regions, areas outside Astana and Almaty, because we know that one of the key challenges for Kazakhstan development is to fill this gap that exists in terms of services being delivered, infrastructure being available in the rural areas. So we had a strong bias for projects that were outside Astana and Almaty, and we estimate that for the first tranche, we had a total of 3 tranches. The first tranche was completed at the end of 2015. We have done some impact development assessment, and we see that we may have contributed to generated some 3,000 new jobs in Kazakhstan. The second focus of our previous country partnership strategy was really in the transport sector, to take advantage of this specific particular location of Kazakhstan in Central Asia to connect China with Europe. And we have helped building roads in the Jambil Oblast, as well as in Mangistau Oblast. These were fairly long roads, and for example, for the Aktobe Makat Road, also something that we've been working on. For the Aktau Benyo road, which is about 470 kilometers, we can already announce that the travel time in those roads was basically halved from 12 to 6 hours. So these are some concrete results that we can propose in terms of developmental impact of our support. But as we move forward, and in fact today's press conference is mostly for the new country partnership strategy, I would like, first of all, to mention that we fully align our strategy with the third modernization of Kazakhstan, which is a medium-term development strategy that President Nazarbayev introduced in January this year, and eventually that is going to contribute to the long-term development strategy of Kazakhstan of becoming one of the 30 most developed countries by the year 2050. So to achieve this objective, actually, with this new country partnership strategy, we are greatly diversifying our sectors of intervention beyond supporting small and medium enterprises financing and beyond transport. We are, in the first place, looking at what are the key challenges for the economy of Kazakhstan moving forward, and what are the strategic pillars that we can help. We can provide some support to the government in this journey. As Mr. Nurim already mentioned, our strategic pillars are three for the new country partnership strategy. The first one is to help Kazakhstan really diversify its economy. So economic diversification out of hydrocarbons is one major focus of our country partnership strategy. The second one, I already mentioned, some developmental challenges with regard to inequalities in the rural areas, this fairly large gap that exists between urban and rural in terms of availability of infrastructure, in terms of quality of services being provided. So our second pillar is really looking at promoting inclusive development of Kazakhstan. And the third pillar looks more into sustainable green growth, sustainable development. As you know, Expo 2017 was just concluded last week. And after 3 months of discussions on the future energy, we really realized that Kazakhstan is very much committed to fulfill its international obligations for making the country more environmentally sustainable. You know that there are certain targets to be achieved, in particular with regard to renewable energies, and our strategy is going to support this path. So we are already working with the Ministry of Energy for help preparing a new sector development strategy for promoting renewable energies in Kazakhstan. With regard to the importance of economic diversification, there are a number of areas where we are going to focus our support, but first and foremost is the agricultural sector, promoting economic diversification through dedicated investment and knowledge support in the agricultural sector. On the 25th of August, we were the first ones, the first IFI to sign a memorandum of understanding with Kazagro, and under the supervision of the Ministry of Agriculture, and we are laying down our possible supports in a number of areas, looking at infrastructure, looking at possibilities for Kazakhstan to diversify its economies through exports, and enhancing the quality of production from commodities into processing of goods, into creating infrastructure for the wholesale market throughout the country, and also in eventually seeing the possibilities of establishing a commodities exchange together with helping with creating warehousing facilities to promote agricultural development. During the last 25 years, somewhat the potential of agriculture has been unexpressed. Our role in the moving forward is to help Kazakhstan really diversify its economies through agricultural development. But obviously, in addition to agriculture, also Kazakhstan can help a much bigger role that is playing now in the region through logistics services, by connecting again Europe with China. And in line with the third modernization of Kazakhstan, we are looking at possibilities of strengthening this digital economy, which is so fundamentally important for for connectivity and logistics. And in addition to that, we are also looking into some manufacturing industries that would help transform, the natural resources that are available in Kazakhstan, in particular with regard to the rich minerals that exist in Kazakhstan. In addition to, economic diversification, we are looking into supporting health sector, and here we are discussing with the Ministry of Healthcare how we could support creating primary healthcare infrastructure for the country through also dedicated public-private partnership projects, which is something again in the direction of promoting private sector development in Kazakhstan. Again, with regard to issues on inequalities at the, say, oblast level, you know that we have been trying together with the World Bank, with EBRD and other IFIs to help promote development of infrastructure at the municipal level. So now we are discussing the opportunity with the government together with the World Bank of creating a municipal infrastructure fund that would help address this issue of financing modalities for development of infrastructure. And lastly, although there could be other discussions about sectors where we are going to be involved, but I believe there could be some Q&A afterwards. I would like just to mention and reinforce the message that Mr. Nurim gave just a while ago with regard to the financing modalities. Now, Kazakhstan is an upper middle income country. It's the most advanced country in Central Asia, and its demand for financing modalities have become fairly sophisticated. So now we are equipping ourselves to respond positively to that evolving demand of Kazakhstan. In the past, we were focusing on providing support to sovereign, through sovereign financing, but now we want to shift focus to non-sovereign operations, in particular private sector operations that will not create contingent liabilities in the budget of Kazakhstan, and I believe this is in line with the objectives of the government. So we are studying opportunities for even blending sovereign with non-sovereign financing to release, to ease these conditions for providing long-term cheap financing opportunities for the country. And together with that, obviously, we are equipping ourselves for providing financing in local currency, in tenge in particular, long-term. The central bank is doing a commendable effort to create deeper capital markets in Kazakhstan, and we want to support that effort as well on our side. And finally, let me also mention that in line with the level of Kazakhstan being the first economy of Central Asia, we believe that by investing in Kazakhstan, we could generate considerable positive externalities, spillovers to the neighboring countries of Kazakhstan, to the likes of the Kyrgyz Republic, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, the neighborhood. And therefore, we have been providing considerable knowledge support to Kazakhstan. We are going to expand that knowledge support. In fact, with Mr. Nurim, we put together a few years ago an innovative project for the bank, which we called KEEP, Knowledge, Experience and Exchange Program, which is jointly financed by ADB and the government of Kazakhstan. We are going to expand this program, but in addition to that, we are also creating applied knowledge centers in Kazakhstan that would serve not only the country but the region. One example which we are now concretely looking at is in the area of integrated water resource management. You know that water is such of tremendous importance for Kazakhstan for a number of reasons. There are eight major river basins in Kazakhstan, 7 of which are transboundary nature. Now with positive changes in Uzbekistan's leadership, we see opportunities for strengthening regional cooperation in this area of transboundary water issues, and a major application of water in Kazakhstan. About 60 or 65% of water is being used for irrigation. So irrigation is a very important component of improving agricultural productivity. And in addition to irrigation, you have other aspects such as flood management. Remember in April here how important was for the city of Astana to handle these issues of flood that is being generated by the melting of snow, but also wastewater treatment, urban and rural water supply and sanitation. So looking at all these eventual applications, we are working together with several ministries led by the Ministry of Agriculture to establish in Almaty at the Kazakhstan National Agrarian University a new knowledge center to look into issues of integrated water resource management. We are doing that not only one-to-one with the government, but involving the rest of development partners. We are working very closely with UNESCO, with the World Bank, with EBRD, with OECD, and we are proposing this as a new platform for supporting Kazakhstan in the journey moving forward. I think I better stop here and we'll be happy to answer any question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kapanelu, for your informative speech. Уважаемые коллеги, мы переходим к вопросам. Если у вас есть вопросы к нашим спикерам, пожалуйста, можете задавать. Первый вопрос, пожалуйста, Казинформ.
Добрый день, Казинформ, Лаура Мантаева. У меня два вопроса. Каким образом Азиатский банк развития планирует наладить работу с регионами Казахстана? Ведь потому что не секрет, что именно в регионах существует проблема с некачественной инфраструктурой. И второй вопрос. В какой валюте будет предоставляться финансирование Азиатского банка развития для новых проектов? Спасибо.
Спасибо за вопрос. Уважаемый спикер, пожалуйста.
Давайте я начну. Сейчас, да, в рамках данной стратегии мы предусмотрели, что акцент смещается на регионы и непосредственно работу с регионами. С нами между правительствами и Азиатским банком развития заключено рамочное соглашение. В этих рамочных соглашениях у нас работает совместная группа, куда регионы могут подавать свои проекты, которые потом обсуждаются на более высоком уровне, на уровне премьер-министра, на координационном совете. То есть как бы институциональная схема предусмотрена, налажена. Непосредственно обсуждение проектов идет напрямую между регионами и Азиатским банком развития.
Yes, and in fact, I would like to add on to this. As I mentioned, actually, all your answer to your two questions you can find in the briefing that we just given. First of all, we do recognize that we need to work more actively with regions. We have in place framework agreements now. We are proposing to establish a municipal infrastructure fund. So far, our major problems were with the credit worthiness of the small local public utilities companies for receiving our loans, and other IFIs were able to provide some form of financing to public utilities companies in the region, but interest rates were fairly high, and therefore this will create problems moving forward in terms of fiscal sustainability. So by discussing with the government possibility of creating a municipal infrastructure fund, we think that we could be able to ease some of this condition, especially on the financing modality. Second, with regard to currency, as we mentioned, both Mr. Nurim and I, ADB is very keen now to work solutions for providing financing in tenge. And this is important mostly when procurements are done in local currency in tenge. There are several facilities to provide financing in tenge. We signed in February this year a repo agreement with Central Bank of Kazakhstan, National Bank of Kazakhstan, for $200 million, which we're going to use with the next few projects. In addition to that, our team will be visiting next week Almaty. We have two experts from Manila who are going to meet with the central bank to discuss concrete possibilities of issuing local currency bonds. So then it's an issue of pricing, and it's an issue of indexing to CPI or other indexes, and working out with the central bank modalities for that, but we are fully equipped to provide financing in local currency, in tenge.
Спасибо. Уважаемые коллеги, следующий вопрос. Пожалуйста, Казинформ.
Добрый день. Международное информационное агентство Казинформ, Гульмира Сарбасова. Вопрос к мистеру Компанелли. Мистер Компанелли, вы сказали, что в рамках новой стратегии больше будут финансироваться проекты в частном секторе. Скажите, на каких условиях? И второе, АБР в данном случае составляет конкуренцию коммерческим банкам, так ведь? Или есть какое-то отличие?
Спасибо за вопрос.
Thank you very much. Obviously, we can discuss about financing terms for sovereign operations, not so directly for private sector operations, because each deal will depend on a number of factors that we don't have an a priori response to your question. If the deal that we are going to finance is under sovereign operations, we can exactly tell you the terms. We can provide long-term financing up to 25 years if the operations is sovereign, meaning the obligation is taken either by the Ministry of Finance or through a sovereign guarantee. Then we would provide lending at 6 months LIBOR plus 50 basis points. Today, as of today, I guess 6 months LIBOR is around 1.4%. So if you summed it up, under sovereign operation, we'll be able to provide at less than 2%. Okay? However, as we explained, the appetite of the government now of Kazakhstan is more towards non-sovereign operations. So, and non-sovereign, and the terms I told you are in US dollars. In tenge, rates again change. So in order to find a proper and balance and attractive terms for Kazakhstan, we are trying to create facilities whereby we combine our sovereign lending, our sovereign terms, with some non-sovereign terms, so that we could request, for example, the government to only subscribe to a share of a facility or of a project. Let's say if the project is 100 million, the government could only finance sovereign 30% of that. With that share, actually, we will be able to leverage on private capital coming in. And instead of borrowing then at high interest rates like 15% or 14% as are the current rates in tenge in the market, we could blend with our very concessional financing terms and create a facility that would be sustainable over the medium long term. I'm afraid I cannot give you more details about specific terms because I guess you will understand that this will depend on specific projects, but this is exactly what we are discussing as one of applications of the Municipal Infrastructure Fund.
Thank you. Уважаемые коллеги, будут ли еще вопросы? Пожалуйста.
Интерфакс Казахстан. У меня хотела уточнить, вы только что в своей речи сказали, что в Алмате будете вести переговоры о возможном выпуске облигаций. Не могли бы поподробнее сказать о сроки, объемы, суммы? Спасибо.
Спасибо за вопрос.
Again, I'm really sorry that I cannot provide more details about it. What I can tell you is that at the moment, we already have a facility for $200 million through a repo agreement that we signed with the central bank in February. And for the immediate needs for the next project, we can source from that facility. Moving forward, however, depending on the projects, depending on the kind of interventions that we are looking at, then we will structure issuances of specific bonds according also to maturity and according to the disbursement plans that are intrinsic in each loan that we would provide. So I'm afraid I cannot give you more details. I'll be happy to do so at the moment that we have a concrete projects to look into. However, the teams of our Treasury Department in ADB and the Treasury Department of the National Bank of Kazakhstan are working very closely, so the moment we have a new project, we can start with the bond issuance as soon as possible. You can see examples of previous bond issuances that were done, for example, by EBRD. In December last year, EBRD issued a bond for about $100 million, which is indexed at CPI, and it was an offshore bond issuance in London. We could look into offshore issuances, inshore depends on the number of factors, but most importantly on the nature of the loan.
Спасибо большое. Уважаемые коллеги, будут ли еще вопросы? Если вопросов нет, разрешите на этом завершить нашу пресс-конференцию. Мы видим, что новая стратегия, которая принята в этом месяце, приносит очень много преимуществ именно для Казахстана, так как будет открыто более 3000 новых рабочих мест. Также по 3 направлениям проходит сотрудничество между Казахстаном и Азиатским банком развития. Мы надеемся, что данная стратегия принесет много нового для Казахстана, а также для Азиатского банка развития. Мы благодарим за участие, уважаемые журналисты, уважаемые спикеры. Спасибо за предоставленную информацию. До новых встреч, до свидания.